Jumbo, fellow infinite possibilities adventurers, and welcome to our crash course. What a thrill and an honor it is to be able to present to you at this crazy, crazy time in the evolution of consciousness and the evolution as we know it in all things. Oh my gosh. I know that all that's been going on in the world has probably rocked your boat. It has unquestionably rocked my boat, but it's really an invitation for moving up a notch into the light. This is what I'm really excited about. And I think having this honor to share with you, the whole idea is to remind you of what's really going on, how powerful you still are, how fast things can change for the better. They always do. And that you are at the center of your universe, commanding the elements right now, in spite of appearances, in spite of political division, in spite of, well, my gosh, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. I'm going to break the ice with a note from the universe that speaks to what we're all going through right now. And then I'm going to give you some idea of where we're going in these next 90 minutes. And then eventually the content and your questions and answers. But here we go with one of my favorite notes from the universe. Let me share my screen here. All right. Hey, you like the shirt? Oh, I knew you would. All righty here. Here we go. I hope you get the notes, right? This event is for Notes subscribers, a way of giving back and saying thank you for letting us show up, the universe show up in your inbox on the days of the week that you have chosen. So here we go. Warming planet, check. Species on the brink of extinction, that's us, check. Pandemics and bickering politicians, oh my gosh, double, triple check. Inflation on the rise, check. And then you went within and found your power. Big check. We're about to witness the most exciting comeback in the history of your planet, which was all foreseen. Thank you, Nostradamus, the universe. P.S. And a star was born. I trust this will be as good as your romantic comedies. What the heck is going on? In spite of appearances, the pandemic, the divisiveness, the rapid winds of change, all foreseen. Book of Revelations, Nostradamus, the Mayan calendar, and other legends and lore, all in an uncanny way predicted and put it on the chronological calendar exactly when this stuff would be happening. What is this stuff? It is not the end of times. When the Mayan calendar ended, a brand new one began. And as some have chronicled, the ancient prophecy makers being steeped in religion thousands of years ago, when they looked to the future and did not see hide nor hair of their religion, they thought it must be the end of times. But perhaps we're loosening up and we're finding spirituality exists in our heart. And perhaps we're finding out we're more powerful than ever before. And in fact, we are on within a brand new dawn in the evolution of consciousness on planet Earth. If you want to get technical, we're going third dimension, fourth dimension, and now fifth dimension is on the cusp. Higher vibrations. What does that mean? It means we're letting more light and more love into our world. But there are naysayers. There are folks, you know who they are, that don't want change, and they fight it and they resist it. And just as we fight and resist ourselves with conflicted beliefs, so we might come up with a common cold or have other unexpected manifestations. The same thing happens globally. We've got pockets of light and massive regions of darkness that are just coming into the light, embracing the light. with some resistance. And that resistance, just like for a human body, puts the whole group, cumulative, collective, if you will, in a place of receiving these red flags on the play. Hey, things aren't right. Hey, go within. Hey, reflect. Reconsider what your priorities are. This is COVID, amongst other things. I got it. I reconsidered my priorities. This whole shift that has changed every area of our life, not just COVID, but everything, is our invitation to reconsider. And many are taking this call. You're here on this line. You know you're powerful. Life does not happen to us. We happen to life. And so what's going on right now is not an ending. It's a beginning. It's the beginning of the most exciting time to ever be alive in recorded history. It's a healing. COVID and all this other stuff is the beginning of a healing, at which level we will see more clearly and feel more powerful than we have ever felt before. But we're going through the steps. Patience is due. Understanding and awakening to the transparency and the inclusiveness that we see springing up around the world. I promise you, this is a golden era. It's said that when one self-realizes, like Buddha, when one awakens, that it's the beginning of the adventure. Now, those folks that we know, those ascended masters, they were in ancient times, far more difficult to ascend back then than now. And so once their work was done, not much point in sticking around with billions or at least hundreds of millions of people way back then, still finding their way in the dark. They left their message, they planted the seed, and then people started waking up. And here we are at the cusp of our own self-realization a couple of thousand years later. And so now, though, it's going to be a different thing. Now, when we awaken, our life in these sacred jungles of time and space begins. We don't buzz off on out of here. We come alive as a cooperative collective with love in our hearts for our brothers and sisters. The only reason there's going to be boundaries for nations in the future and not so distant future is to keep track of sports teams. There's going to be so much love. Nobody's going to be, I'm better than you. My country's better than you. It's like, we're brothers and sisters. This is what we chose to be part of. This is like better than the weekend. This is a Friday going into the weekend. Fridays are better than the weekend because you're looking forward to so much. Right now, we're in the Friday of the awakening of consciousness on planet Earth. It's like, oh my God, I want to be alive then. I want to be born into the darkness and move into the light. I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to know my power. I promise. Well, these are pretty captivating illusions, but my gosh, there has never been a better time to hold your own, to know of your power, to feel the love, to steady that ship, to plant the seeds, to imagine, to visualize vision boards, and prepare to be astounded. There is no more exciting time to be alive than right now. This is the beginning of our healing. This is the beginning of the human race in time and space. Everything else was caveman, cavewoman up until yesterday. Literally, look at us. Look at how we've behaved. Polluted the world. We throw bombs at one another. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the beginning. And I'm so excited to share this kind of stuff with you. Sometimes I need to hear it as much as I need and feel drawn to share it. So thanks for this opportunity. Now let's look at some housekeeping procedures, see where we are. Just so you know, there's a link to the recording. If you want to watch this again, there'll be an email sent to you within 24 hours so that you can watch it again. You can bring your friends, bring your families, okay? This is kind of a gift, and it's there for you, all right? And the link will take you right back to this very same bookmark, so you can bookmark it. So you don't have to take notes. If something catches you powerfully, but you want to stay with my flow, you can always rewatch it later on. Of course, the recording by tomorrow will actually have closed captioning. If you have questions as I'm presenting and sharing, jot them down personally. and save them for the anticipated Q&A session that will follow the presentation. I do expect that there will be time. I do want to hear your questions, so do preserve them. And if they're not answered in the subsequent moments or minutes from you jotting them down, somebody else probably has the same question as you. Now, there's a forum here, and you've probably seen it. It's on your right, if I'm correct, and it's live. So post. It's so much fun to find out where people are from, where you're at. Let us know if I say something that strikes you powerfully. Share. You could even ask a question, and somebody else might answer it for you until I get to Q&A. But that's not during the flow is not the time to ask the questions, because there's going to be a lot of posts. But we'd love to hear from you. So if you're feeling it, or if you think something needs clarity, there are back channels. Something might get to me. Post below. If you do nothing else but post where you're from and what the weather is, it's appreciated. Where's this material coming from? I trust many of you Notes from the Universe subscribers, all of you are, know a bit about myself and my work. But some time ago, I created an audio program that turned into a book that became a New York Times bestseller. And this is it: Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams. I wrote the audio program, the script for the book, at one of the lowest times of my life. And I'll chronicle that for you a little bit later, so you can see that it's not like I have something special. I was lost. I was hurt. I was confused. I was sad. So if I can do it, man, oh man, anybody can do it. This is the audio program that was released in early 2000 that gave way years later to a book that on its debut became #7 on the New York Times bestseller list. There's kind of a trail here. And then our crowning glory with this material has been the creation, about when the book came out, of the Infinite Possibilities certification program. I just got to share that the material I'm sharing with you through a four-day course, 4-day event, so far 2,500 people from 48 countries have become certified, teaching exactly what I teach, and they do it royalty-free, license-free for life. This is kind of the backbone of Tut.com right now. The infinite possibilities stemming from the audio program to the book to this conference, this certification that kind of ties together a family behind the scenes. We're friends. We know each other. We speak on stage together. We write books together. It's really, well, you teach best what you most need to learn. And as I teach this and others teach it, they're learning it better than they could have ever learned it if it was just them and their lonesome. So let's move on. I'll tell you a little bit later how some folks are using this to actually add to their income, if not create their own income. Today's table of contents, I'm going to blow through this. Design and define a dream in ways you probably have never heard before. Number 2, what to do versus what never to do to unleash life's magic. Ways to get started immediately, even when feeling doubt and uncertainty. How to light up the world while discovering and following your own path. Do it your way on your schedule. Number 5, how to install empowering beliefs that will eliminate invisible limiting beliefs. And number 6, beyond your wildest dreams. Sound like a plan? All right. One more word from our sponsor, the universe. The thing that most forget, I certainly did, while dreamily looking off into the horizon for the ship of their dreams, is that such ships never sail in, but are actually built beneath your very feet. Oh my gosh, this was so me 22 years ago. And I know it's 22 years. I adjust it every year because it was the dawn of the millennium, 1999 turning into the year 2000. Mom, Andy, and I had just liquidated our t-shirt business, which was the beginnings of tut.com. I had no idea what I'd be doing next, as I was 2 months away from turning the big 40. Oh my gosh. Actually, I'm 61. So I don't know how it's, but 22 years. And well, I was 39 then. I'm 61 now. And then the thing that made it so almost unbearable, the lowest time of my life, not only was this stuff happening, I'm about to get old. So I thought. I found out my girlfriend had a boyfriend, and it wasn't me. I hope that never happens to you. I know it's happened to some of you. In the middle of the most passionate affair of your life, you find out you're not the only one, okay? As that song goes. So I was truly devastated. I had no income. I had a big mortgage, and I did not even have a light to look in the tunnel for. Talk about looking for the light in the proverbial tunnel. I didn't even have a tunnel. I had no tunnel. It was truly the lowest time in my life. And I can talk about it now. I wouldn't have admitted back then, because that's when I was recording Infinite Possibilities. I remember thinking, who am I? My heart was so broken. I couldn't eat for weeks, practically. I was nauseous all the time. It was that bad. I would pray on my knees. I was raised a Catholic, not one today. Total respect and props to the Catholics in the house, but I found I can be spiritual without the guidance of men from 2,000 years ago who skewed things in their favor. I'd pray to God, whatever gives you comfort. Even to this day, if something happened, I'd pray at the side of my bed. I prayed to God. I have no idea how I created this mess, but I created it. We're all creators. I had no idea, and you don't have to know how you got where you are to know how to change it. I have no idea how I created this. I've tried absolutely everything, but I know what I want. And we all know what we want. We focus on how to get there. We turn the hows into cursed hows. I remember I said, I want wealth and abundance so I don't have to lose my home. I want creative, fulfilling work. I don't know what that would be. You figure it out, God. I want friends and laughter. And I'd like to start traveling internationally again, because that was always kind of a fun thing I did in my accounting days and in the t-shirt business days. We sold all over the world. Wealth and abundance, creative, fulfilling work, friends and laughter, and international travel. This is going to have meaning a little bit later on in this program. You figure it out. I have no idea where to begin. Dear God Almighty, help me, help me. I'm at the end of my rope. I truly was. And then I knew enough, and you know enough, to at least follow up these requests with moving feet. You've heard it before. Pray and move your feet. I'm not, Oprah's not calling if all I do is grovel in my home with a broken heart. So I did vision boards. I did creative visualization. I did more vision boards, one in every major area of my house, including my refrigerator and bathroom mirrors with magnets or Scotch tape. I created affirmations. I am an unlimited being of light. Dang it. And I did everything. I went to trade shows. I went to trade fairs. I circulated resumes. I was prepared to do anything because I literally didn't know what I'd be doing with the rest of my life as I was on the cusp of turning 40. And my God, months turned into a year. And nothing flipping happened. Nothing. It was like I would literally go to my mother's house. I was trying to quit cigarettes at the time, and I would bum cigarettes off of her, and I would badmouth the universe. It's like, where's the flipping universe? What happened to the magic? I know what I want. I'm doing all this stuff. But that didn't stop me from doing all this stuff. I kept with the vision boards. I had nothing else. What else was I going to do? Watch TV, which was like my only other option back then, not having a family, living alone. It's like, I'm going to keep doing this stuff. I kept showing up, doing Googles, who's doing what. And I remember, well, I'll save some of this for you in a little while. But I remember the day came, probably a year to two, when suddenly I remember thinking, God, this is so great, but I'm so busy. This is so great. And by the third year, it was like, I'm living the life of my dreams. I've got to go catch a flight to London. I've got to go catch a flight to Sydney. I've got a manuscript to finish off. I've got more notes from the universe. It's like doing stuff I love. My passion, my path found me by me doing these seemingly trite things, vision boards, affirmations, baby steps, even applying for jobs I didn't want. Something is better than nothing. Taking action breeds clarity, as you will soon see. So I hope that sets the stage. All right. I wanted that to set the stage. Now we're beginning. Now I want to ask, are you ready to start building the ship beneath your very feet? Because it takes so little. Our part is the easy part. I want to start with the basics. How to design and define a dream to get what you want. And here's the best part. I promise you will have no doubt in your mind by the end of this how to create manifestations that exceed your wildest imagination right now. This is the trick, to leave the door open, to give the universe divine, infinite latitude for divine mind, which is a whole lot bigger than yours, divine mind and infinite wisdom that set the stars in the sky to chart your course and blow your mind. Because really, there's you and there's more you. And divine mind is your mind. But when you program it at this level with wisely defined dreams, at that level, it knows how to do it. It knows how to put the right people on the right path at the right time. And sometimes it looks like total chaos. But you stay with it, you keep going, and you find out you will prevail for at least doing what you knew to do. Define your dreams wisely, vision boards, baby steps, get out, network and mingle, attach to none of the paths, leave yourself room for better, and thy will shall be done. Well, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite series of slides. And if you're in one of the 42 countries, 158 cities I've spoken in the last 20 years, you've probably already seen this series, but nothing else better illustrates the importance of where to begin your journey when you want transformation in your life. And this begins with the beginning of the beginning, if there was such a thing. I'm going to help you understand the logistics of mystics by helping you understand how the universe set this whole thing, the entire physical universe, which is mind-boggling enough. And then you find out there's a multi-universe, which don't even try to think of that. How the universe how the universe, i.e. source, created the physical universe. Where's my little clickety clicker? Here it is. One of my favorite notes from the universe. I used to wonder, how did it all begin? I used to wonder in my own backyard, kicking pine cones for my dogs, like, but what was the beginning of the beginning like? What was the beginning's beginning? The beginning, was there one planet? Was there all these planets? Was there two people and then a bunch of people? Are they all inhabited? And so I got the answer. I got the answer of how it all began. You're about to have it, and you will not doubt it. And I ran into the house and wrote down this note from the universe. Ain't it grand? Doesn't it boggle your mind? The harmony, the splendor, the beauty, the intricacies, the synchronicities, the staggering perfection. Do you ever wonder how the entire physical universe, how it all came about? Now, this is deliberately designed to make you think with your mind, and you're not going to find the answer. But that's what I did. This is what I was doing when I was kicking pine cones for my dogs. But first, let me put the entire universe into perspective, okay? You'll get a kick out of this. Did you know, according to modern mainstream scientists, this is established science, this is not metaphysics, that at a minimum, our scientists tell us there are at least 100 billion stars. 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy alone. in our galaxy, 100 billion stars. And then they tell us at a minimum, there's 100 billion galaxies. 100 billion times 100 billion. I had to go to the internet. I'll tell you the answer. It's 10 sextillion. Yeah, that's an exciting number. 10 sextillion is 100 billion times 100 billion. This is what I'm saying. How did it all begin? And out of 100 billion stars, that doesn't count planets or multi-universes. And that's just in the Milky Way galaxy alone. Out of all of those stars, this one planet has 100 million different species, inhabiting air, land, and sea. Every crack and crevice, nook and cranny on this planet is teeming with life. Did you know there's microorganisms that party, that replicate in hot lava pits? Did you know there are birds, the Arctic tern, that take off from Siberia at the onset of winter, where it was cold already, to fly 8,000 miles away to warmer weather in Australia? One way, every year, 8,000 miles, and that most of their flying is done while they sleep? Did you know that there are whales in the Atlantic Ocean that communicate with their brothers and sisters from Nova Scotia off of Canada to the Caribbean Sea, 2,000 miles away, through song? And in our own backyards, parks, and gardens, there are these critters that somehow turn into butterflies. Fricking butterflies. Okay, what is that? 4 species? There's 100 million more, each as intricate and unique and mind-bending as all the others, not to mention you and I. What brought it all about? How did it begin? And now here is where I'll take you on that deliberately misguided tour where we try to figure it out with our logical brain. Do you think I studied quarks, atoms, and molecules? The universe is asking. That I drew schematics for the sun, the moon, and the stars, the otter, the Gila monster, and the penguin? Do you think I painted every zebra, flower, and butterfly? Well, first of all, these speculations presume time, space, and matter as if there was an easel and a drawing pad. Okay, there's none. But secondly, they're totally leading us up the wrong tree. These are not answerable questions. These had nothing to do with the beginning of time and space, although this is where my mind would go. Here's the answer. Or do you think I simply imagined the end result? And that's all you ever have to do. P.S. I hated school. And you could have hated school too. Or if you're still in it, well, finish it, but you don't have to love it. We want to measure everything. We want to use instruments and tools. We want to know, did gravity come first? What kind of mathematics holds it all together? Math is golden, right? What's that? That pattern that shows up in nature everywhere. Does mathematics solve it? It's like, no, the math, the science, the gravity, all physical laws came after the universe imagined the end result, the perfection, the endless space, the symbiotic relationships. All of that was forced by an end result that demanded it. The end result always forces the details that will bring it about. You don't have to figure out the details, not in your life either, not your path, not your partner, not anything else. You need to begin with the end in mind. All manifestations come from here first. You picture it in mind, and immediately the infinite wisdom of source energy knows the who's, the how's, the trajectories of people and their lives that you don't even know exist yet, that will be a perfect business partner, perfect romantic partner. As soon as you say what you want in terms of the end result, that's one of the first big lessons here. The universe knows the hows, the wheres, the whens, the details. All else is assembled as you simply follow up with baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step. This is the logistics of mystics. This is how anyone who's ever achieved anything that's put them on the map, so to speak, and this is not about being famous, did so. I just finished reading the Harry Potter series. J.K. Rowling, thank you. Wow, unbelievable. Every night with my daughter, it was the best time. And the story is so rich and detailed. How does somebody write a book like that? How does somebody invent a light bulb? How does somebody come up with a vaccine? Probably a bad example. How does somebody come up with anything? How did you come up with your best idea yet? You had an end result that demanded it. I want to live better. I'm raising the bar. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I want it all. Whatever it was, however much courage you had to set that bar up there, then the universe presses those good ideas with you. It presses into you the characters for your story and the plots and the twists and the names of cities and inventing Quidditch and all that kind of stuff. It's given to you on a silver platter. Anybody who's done anything great, you can do it and more. This is what Jesus said, right? The things I do, you're going to do greater. You're going to do greater. Not metaphorically, you're literally going to do greater. That's what moves through your being right now. And with the vibrations changing, the dimensions moving on planet Earth, this is what the prophecy makers saw. Us coming into our power with an awareness of what's going on and who we really are. And it's not just celebrities. I mean, a great parent at home, a school teacher, our infinite possibility trainers who are out writing books, getting on stages, being paid, doing it for free. In how many countries now did I say? That's coming up in a little while. But they have a vision. I was born for more. I'm stepping into it. I'm passionate about the nature of reality. I'm passionate about helping other people. Anyone with any dream, beginning with a dream, allowing divine intelligence to work backwards, will figure out the math and their trajectories and the partners and the players. Somebody was being drawn to you, and they changed their mind and said life's hard. So boom, you got the next best person. You wouldn't even know that the other person didn't make it to you. You're drawing people to you right now based on your vibe. What's your vibe? Thoughts become things. What you're thinking about all the time reveals where your end results are. So if you're trying to solve problems, you're going to get more problems. Even though you were looking for the solution, you're reinforcing the problem. Go beyond circumstances. Go to the dream. Yes, there's a place to take action. Yes, there's a place to unravel messes. But let yourself always be guided by the vision you have for the future, defined in ways that we are about to look at. There's no such thing as an ordinary person. Behind every pair of eyes lies the divine, including the eyes or the ears that are watching or listening to me right now. You are of God, by God, pure God. You've been given the gifts of the gods. There's nothing you can't have, do, or be. The only economy that matters is the economy of your thoughts. And if you want transformation, you begin with the end in mind. So here we go. It's all about thoughts becoming things. It is the end-all, be-all of living the life of your dreams in these sacred jungles of time and space. There are no mitigating factors. You're not being given tests by the divine. Yes, there's confusion. We all have a little bit of that in these primitive times. So we have lessons we want to learn to move past the confusion, but there's no tests. There's nobody deciding who gets what, when, or where. Nobody's putting stuff on your path that would null and void thoughts becoming things. It's one of the only pillars of the nature of reality within these sacred jungles. The only other two pillars I can think about that I can deduce is that we're all of God, by God, pure God. We're all one. Love is the glue that holds it all together, and thoughts become things. Only one has a moving part. Okay, you can't change the love, okay? And I'm not talking about human love. I'm talking about unconditional divine love. You've never been judged. Never been judged. Could we do better? Yeah, we could do better. We learn lessons and we move on, do better. It's all one. We're all God. There's only love. It's the glue of reality. And you bring about what you think about. Law of attraction. Thoughts become things. This is where we fit into the equation of reality creation. Thoughts becoming things. And the best way to understand this, if you know my work, you've seen me share this before, but the best way to understand thoughts becoming things vis-a-vis end results, oh my gosh, it's like the universe had a good laugh. It's like, I'm going to show them a metaphor for manifestation through GPS that is uncanny. It is mind-boggling, the parallels of GPS navigation with the logistics of mystics. Okay, you ready? You know how this works. When I started sharing this in the beginning, back when we just launched the certification program, which our trainers are using all over the world, these very PowerPoint slides, if they wish, royalty-free. It was before people had cell phones with GPS and certainly didn't have cars with it. So I'd have to explain what GPS is. I'm going to cut some corners here because you know what GPS navigation is. Number one, define what you want in terms of the end. GPS navigation, you give it the destination. You don't tell the thing how you're going to get there because you don't know how you're going to get there. In life, you don't know. You can't know how your dreams are going to come true. You can't. There's too many moving variables. But divine intelligence is tracking all of them. So you tell GPS your destination. You tell the divine source energy how you'd like transformation. It's like, oh, that's easy. That's like so easy. That's crazy cray. All right. So define what you want in terms of the end result. Now, you don't tell it where you are. The universe knows where you are. The car knows where you are. These signals are nonstop 24/7. It's not, you don't have to learn how to make your thoughts become things. It's happening now. So on the fly, we're going to start thinking thoughts that serve us through this understanding, the logistics of mystics. What's the second and only other thing you have to do for GPS navigation? You got gas in the car. You got food in your tummy. Okay, we're not going to try to mess with the machinery here. The only other thing you got to do in a GPS navigated car ride is put the flipping thing in gear, right? You can tell it what you want. You can tell divine what you want, but if you just sit around waiting for it, it's not coming. It can't. But the instant you put your car in gear, then on the screen, you get the directions. Before you put the destination, before you put your car in gear, the car doesn't talk to you because you're telling it, I'm not ready yet. And if you don't put your life in gear, it's like, well, you're not ready yet. Clearly, you're not ready. You put the car in gear, and instantly guidance is forthcoming. You put yourself in gear, even when you don't know what road to go down, and I'll cover that a little bit later, guidance is forthcoming. Guidance that does not come forth when your life is in park. So know what you want, do what you can about it, however feeble or timid or doubting you may be of yourself. Put your car in gear. Do something. You don't have to make some gigantic investment. Do little things, baby steps. Just drive out of the driveway, metaphorically. And then guidance is forthcoming. What happens if you pick the wrong thing? You will pick the wrong road. The road you arrive on is never the road that you started out on, is it? But the road you started out on eventually took you to the road you'd arrive on. So you're going to start on the wrong road. Start anyway. It's okay. The instant you're going, okay, now go here. Okay, now what happens if you make a wrong turn? They're all going to be wrong in the beginning, kind of, sort of. Make a legal U-turn. Guidance is forthcoming, right? So as long as you're moving, within your comfort zone, you can be within your comfort zone. Although that first step sometimes is what tests us the most. But, you can keep the job and look for another one. You don't have to do all or nothing. There's so much wiggle room. Just look at the people who have succeeded in terms of romance or family or wealth and abundance. They are not the sharpest tools in the shed, right? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just need car and gear. Show up, follow your intuitions. That's the universe talking to you. Do the best you can. You're going to make a mistake. You're not going to hear. Make a legal U-turn, and you will be more for the mistake that you made, because you won't make it again when you get much closer to the dream. Everything adds to who you are in this crazy, wonderful world. Everything is here to serve you. And every so-called misstep lifts you higher into the light. There's been no mistakes. Now, there's a couple little other things here to be aware of, like two, okay? Child's play. Understand during this process that the miracles of progress are usually invisible. But that doesn't mean they're not happening just because you can't see them. The miracles of progress are usually invisible. I program my car to take me to Miami. I live in Orlando, Florida. I focus on the end result, okay? I see myself there. That's my destination. When I pull out of my driveway, I can't see I don't know who I'm going to see on the way, where I'm going to stop for rest, where I'm going to get a bright idea, where there's going to be a shortcut. I don't see that stuff until I get going. And I'll look back and say, my God, every left and right hand turn I took was spot on perfect. Flipping miracle. Because you were in motion. Although it's not until you arrive to Miami, and very often, if not always, it's not until the dream comes true that you can then see the miracles. But they're not happening if your car's in park. So understand the miracles of progress are usually invisible, and understand you mustn't insist on unimportant details. And here is the coup de grace. I shouldn't say expressions. I don't know what that means. I know what it's supposed to convey. I'm afraid as a vegetarian, it means something else. I don't know. I don't care. This is at the core of what I feel I am most blessed to teach. I don't know why it's not taught by others. You must not insist on unimportant details. And here you go. All details are unimportant. All details are unimportant. They're a dime a dozen. They'll be in your life, and there's some really great ones coming, but they're not meant to be end results or dreams in themselves. Now, at first listen to that, it might seem a little bit wonky, maybe even contradictory to other stuff. I'm going to reconcile this for you, easy peasy. But what I want you to understand, and I'm going to give you the evidence and wherewithal to grasp it in just a moment, all details are unimportant. Yet most people go out and watch The Secret 30 days in a row, and they want to manifest bells and whistles and who's on a certain timeline by the end of the year. And every detail you attach to limits divine intelligence. Every pathway you insist on, it's going to be this book and it'll be a bestseller, slams shut the door on all other ways divine intelligence could have reached you with even better than you knew to ask for. All details are unimportant. Now, this is such a biggie, it gets its own chapter, chapter 2, coming up right now. And we're going to dive into this really well. What to do versus what never to do to unleash life's magic. Now, for those of you that are into linguistics, I know you don't want to focus on what not to do, because then you're kind of focusing on what not to do. It's like there's so much wiggle room and so much leeway in your strive to dominion over all things. You can have a little worry. You can have a lot of worry. You can bum cigarettes off your mom and badmouth the universe and still crush it. So I'm trying to make a point here. I'm trying to get your attention by saying what to do and what never to do. And the objective will be met, I assure you. So yeah, I know that I know that stuff. Okay, I know that stuff that some of you are thinking about right now, and you're right. But there's so much wiggle room. So to dive into this little nuance right now, where we just left off in the last chapter, not insisting on unimportant details when choosing a destination. That's the key. This will sound confusing. Details are awesome. Specific people that excite you, they're awesome. Your idea of how your dream might come true, it's awesome. They're all awesome. I'm not saying details are bad. This will make sense, I promise. What I'm saying is they make terrible dreams. A certain person, a certain timeline, certain bells and whistles, the frosting on the cake. You care about the cake. You can have the cake. The frosting's going to blow your mind. There will be frosting on the cake. And the person delivering it to you in their birthday suit, oh my God, better than you can imagine right now. Might even be somebody you are hot for right now, or better, okay? This is going to make sense. But the idea here is that all details are unimportant as dreams. They're unimportant as end results. Don't get confused. This is what I call navigating the Bermuda Triangle of manifestation. Okay, there is a Bermuda Triangle. You know that you watched The Secret and you went out and it worked and it didn't work. And then it worked and then it didn't work, didn't work, didn't work. And then it worked, but in hindsight, you so wished it hadn't. You were in the Bermuda Triangle. That was the issue. This is the part that I don't know anybody else who teaches this, but it is Such common sense. By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly this language and what I'm getting at. All right, what are the three corners of the Bermuda Triangle? Wanting as your dream a specific person to behave a specific way. Okay. You can't manipulate other people. Thank goodness. Otherwise, they could manipulate you. But you can elicit their best behavior from them, or you can maximize chances for receiving their best behavior, or you'll just manifest somebody else. I know this gets tricky if you're already married and things like that. There's tangents. Maybe in Q&A, I'll answer that. But generally speaking, at the outset of a dream, you cannot manipulate people, specific ones, into doing specific things. And let me say this, it might work. It might not. It might not. And you didn't sign up for this crash course for some scenarios that might not work. You can have success all the time. 100% of the time manifesting success. If that's not the most outrageous thing you ever heard, you'll be on board shortly if you define your dreams wisely. The second corner of the Bermuda Triangle, don't mess with the cursed hows, meaning don't say, this is how. It might be how, it might not. You're not ready for might not. This may be how my dream comes true, but there's an infinite number of paths. I'm going to go down this path and the universe will nudge me accordingly as it serves me to get what I want or better. Okay? So you don't want to mess with how your dream was going to come true, which doesn't mean you're not going to take action. We'll talk explicitly about that. And number 3, whose, well, that's kind of point 1, when's, where's, and all other bells and whistles, the frosting on the cake. You don't want to go to these things. And to clarify, there will be a story one day of how your dream came true. It's going to be a bestseller, okay? Oprah's going to bring back her daytime show just to give you a month's worth of coverage. There will be a story one day of who behaved in the most wonderful, loving ways. There will be a story one day of timelines and bells and whistles and details you didn't even know existed. Because these things are awesome, but not as the dream. They're awesome to get you excited about the dream. So your question's got to be right now, give me some examples of some good dreams that don't put me in the Bermuda Triangle of manifestation, that will navigate me right around that sucker, right around it. Okay. You like the animation? Took hours. All right. So here you go. These are the kind of things you dream of. And this was hashed out when I wrote the book and did the world tours for Playing the Matrix. You don't need it. I'm going to tell you all that you need to know. I call these the Fantastic Five and happiness. Could you come up with some of your own? If they're generally stated. Being general with your dream is your ticket. Be broad brush. For example, your dream could be wealth and abundance, financial wealth and abundance. That's a great dream. Okay, not a dollar amount, not on a calendar, not because of this book or that contract, just wealth and abundance. Rocking relationships, whether romantic or friends or social or whatever. Awesome, awesome. And you can be particular. You can say, I want an awesome romantic relationship. That's general enough. Okay. Awesome dream, awesome end result. Creative fulfillment, great expression. I'm using my gifts. I'm out there in the world. I love my life. Gosh, I can't wait to get out of bed every single moment. That's an awesome end result, a dream. Health and healing. You deserve no less. Go for it. Appearance. I put this on there for people who want to change their appearance. I used to say modestly. Who the hell am I to say modestly? If you want to go have anything done to yourself or just lose weight, which is not uncommon, well, this is a category that gives you license to focus on a dream and attach to it, because you can attach to any of these dreams. And happiness. Okay. I stumbled praying to God on my hands and knees on this recipe. What did I wish for? Wealth and abundance, creative, fulfilling work, friends and laughter, international travel. The first 3 are definitely general. International travel, well, I didn't say the Bahamas by Easter. I didn't say, I didn't get overly. I just want to get back on a plane and see the world. Okay, I want to go. Those 4 things are all generally stated. Solid gold. Now I'm going to tell you how to work in the details, because the details are awesome. Faces are awesome. You can even put timelines in the details, none of which you'll attach to. That's the only difference. Thereby, you leave room for the universe to find the right person, right time, right path, right bells and whistles, the frosting on the cake, and more than you could ever dream of. So you zoom in on one of these 6 items as an area you're envisioning transformation, intergalactic transformation, love and joy. Okay. These are great. And again, you can go a little bit lower, you can get a little bit more detailed, but the more detailed you go to specific people behaving specific ways, the more you're in the Bermuda Triangle and you might not get what you want. You're not here for not getting what you want. This is how you get what you want, or very likely better. Let me give you, everything else is unimportant. The details are unimportant. Let me give you some examples. There's a worksheet. You should all see a worksheet right under your dashboard. Oh, well, it's not a dashboard, but right under this video right now. Don't forget to click that, okay? Click it and download the 4 worksheets. I'm going to tell you how to do each one of the 4. This is the first one. All you got to do when you want transformation, and you already know the categories, right? Everybody knows their categories. That's easy. We thought we had to figure out how to get there. And then we've got the Bermuda Triangle. Just nail down, and you can have multiple ones at the same time. You could go to all 6 that I shared with you and add 2 more that are a little bit more detailed and do this worksheet for all of them. There's no limit to what you can have. So you write down in glowing terms like I did: wealth and abundance, creative, fulfilling work, friends and laughter, international. Come up with your own buzzwords. Make it into an affirmation. Make it fun. And then simply list as many exciting, juicy details that would likely come into your life once this dream came true. Now, they might not come into your life, but when they don't, better does. The universe knows you. The universe is you. So you say, I want relationship. I want healing transformation. I want to be able to go to the beach. I want to be able to skip. I want to go to square dancing. I want to take up bowling. I want to, maybe you won't take up bowling, but you'll be, you'll be good at badminton, or, I don't know what. So you're going to put in the area of transformation. And here's the gig. You insist and you settle for nothing less. That is your birthright. Transformation in any and every area of your life on your terms or better. Insist, attach. I know this goes against conventional wisdom. Never attach to the end result. That's your problem. Most people's end results are in the minutia. Don't attach to the minutia. I agree. Never attach to the end result if you're in old school. But who teaches having general end results, having high priorities? When that's your approach, when these are your logistics, attach, and then come up with all the details so that vague transformation area, wealth and abundance, what does that mean? It means a new car. It means international travel. It means spoiling my friends. It means starting a foundation. Woohoo! Now you're getting the passion and the emotion, which is all important. It's the thoughts of yours that have the most passion and energy and emotion behind them to become the things the first, as long as you've got wisely defined end results and you're not manipulating people. So this step of enumerating details that will probably come true or better is going to get you excited about transforming health and healing. You see, this is not even that new, is it? Here's some examples. Let's say somebody's end result was love, romance, and intimacy. I didn't just say love. I didn't just say romance. You can mix it up like that. Okay, what are some details? It's going to be a happy, hot partner who's great in the kitchen. We are each self-sufficient, but love sharing our lives. What else would you like? Someone who listens deeply and who lives from their heart. Someone who looks like Brad Pitt, or maybe Cameron Diaz, or maybe both. And then make that list long, and you're just like, look, now you're not attaching. They might not look like Brad Pitt. They might look like somebody better, or vice versa, or Cameron Diaz. Do you see, though, how this is going to be your list. This is your energy. This is what you get excited about. Now you're really excited about love, romance, and intimacy because you defined it. You'll get your details or better. Don't attach to the details, only attach to the dream. What if your high priority area was financial abundance, set for life? You could make it a whole sentence, 2 sentences, make it memorizable. What would that look like for you? I don't know what it would look like for you. Maybe have a wow factor home in Hawaii fully paid for. Maybe possess diverse stock portfolio, real estate, and crypto. Maybe the ability to fund Billy's and Donna's college education. Make this list long. You don't attach to these details, you'll probably get most of them. And the ones you don't get, you'll get better. Maybe it won't be Hawaii. Maybe it'll be Saipan. Maybe it'll be the Seychelles. Maybe it'll be Orlando. You see? Visualize the details, attach only to the dream. This is what you used to do, but you made the details the dream. Now you're like, okay, I can let the universe figure out or better. What if your highest priority was, now here's a deliberate, I combined. I want a cool, happy, abundant life. A cool, happy, abundant life. I used to say in Boston, I also stumbled on this then. I stumbled on this in Boston and when I was praying on the side of my bed, when I wanted wealth and abundance, friends and lots, because I was at the end of my rope and I didn't even know what to ask for anymore. That's how I bumped into this. You don't have to go there, okay? So you can mix. I used to say in Boston, I am a happy, spiritual, international millionaire. Those were my priorities. I am a happy, spiritual, international millionaire when I would walk to and from work every day. Wow, is that powerful? Come up with your own affirmation. That's what you attach to. And then come up with a list. Here again, the hot, happy partner, an amazing home, family vacations around the world, work that feels like play. Do you see in this example, I've combined abundance with career, with joy. Joy and happiness are the ultimate end result because they imply all else. You're not going to be really happy if you're broke. You're not going to be really happy if you're sick. The universe isn't going to say, oh, you want to be happy and have money? You didn't tell me. It's like, oh, you want to have a partner who's single? Like, that's why so-and-so showed up and catfished you or whatever. You don't have to be so specific. You say happy, okay, universe is not going to mince words and it's not going to split hairs. Happiness implies that the pain in your knee went away. Happiness implies that you made a total recovery. Happiness implies that you have money, friend. Happiness is the ultimate end result. And in this exercise, you can dress it up with all of these bells and whistles. Have pages and pages as I used to do during the dark night of my soul 22 years ago. For example, these are my scrapbooks. Okay, that's a loose 3-ring binder. There's another 3. I've had several scrapbooks, many vision boards in my life. I used to kind of doctor them up. Remember, I created these when I was broke. I was scared. I didn't care about Lear jets, private jets, but it spoke to me of possibilities and achieving beyond my wildest dreams. Whether you get the jet, for me, it was fun to put it in the scrapbook. Here, I put a picture of Mike Dooley, mixed amongst. There's Deepak Chopra when he had hair too. Oh, he still does, but it's different color. And there is Wayne Dyer. This is a long time ago. And I put myself on par with these folks because I wanted to this is the details. This is the creative visualization attached to transformation and use these details to get yourself excited about it. I've always done vision boards. This is one from 10 years ago. Most of my life, I've been desperate and dateless. So, I used to put pictures of happy strangers checking me out. These are the things you already do probably, or you can start doing to ignite the flame of passion. Man, transformation might look like this or better. I wrote this blueprint in 1983, before many of you were born. The following is a rough draft for the next few years of my life, blah, blah, blah. I was unemployed, out of college. I wrote this thing. I said, I'm about to be employed by somebody. I got hired by Price Waterhouse, and it was the beginning of so much more. Other stuff that I've done that I do versions of now. I create an index card, and every index card that says girlfriend, partner, spouse, fun projects, a check from Mike Dooley, a check to Mike Dooley for $10 million. Woohoo! I wasn't attached to any of this stuff, but it gave me hope. I digitally modified photos Okay, this was the cover. They said the book would be Simon & Schuster. I was like, it looks like it's missing something. So I souped it up. I posted it all around my house. OMG, I got a little bit carried away. Mike Dooley for president. It's fun to do this stuff. And I had a vision board that I created months ago with my gorgeous wife, better than any vision board, when I did a vision board making workshop. It's fun and you get psyched and you get juiced. My vision board's right there. How many of you have a vision board right now? Shout it out and shout it proud. And if you don't have one, start one, or put a picture of a house or a person that symbolizes a great relationship on your refrigerator or bathroom mirror. You don't have to admit to folks you do it, except tell us now in the forum so we know we're not alone. So that's how I did it. I programmed the universe with end results, wealth and abundance, creative, fulfilling work, those 4 things, and they were generally stated. I settled for nothing less. Then I did all these other things to fuel the flames and get excited about it, not attaching to that stuff. Now we're talking about taking action. It's so important to get going. Why don't people get going? Well, they're like, I know what I want, or I want where I want transformation, but I don't have enough money. I don't have an advertising budget. I don't know anybody. My clothes are raggedy or whatever. Here's the trick. Taking action summons the resources you need to arrive whole and complete. If you don't take action, the resources are not summoned. If you're waiting for the resources while sitting on the couch, they're not coming. The best way to see this, Mama Duck. Okay, when Mama Duck crosses the road or goes swimming, does she say, duckies, line up? And this is the metaphor, because we're often waiting for our ducks to line up, is an expression here in English and USA. Does Mama Duck wait for her ducks to line up? Heck no. Mama just goes. And then the ducks follow. The ducks are your resources. They'll follow when you start. So of course you have to start out on a road you're not comfortable with, that's probably not going to take you there, without any resources. Do it. And I'll give you tips for that in just a second. Another analogy. We hoist the sails when we have wisely defined dreams. All things are possible. You can go anywhere. The universe fills them with its unfailing winds. Our part's the easy part. Program your GPS, put your car in gear. The universe calculates all of the other traffic, detours, everything else. Okay? Or one more metaphor. You pitch the ball. And now we're talking baseball, American baseball. You pitch the ball. The universe hits the home runs. You don't hit the home runs. It's too overwhelming. It's too impossible. There's too much going on. You thought you had to hit the home run. No, you don't. The universe hits it, but you pitch the ball. And if nothing happens, you pitch again. And if nothing happens, you just keep pitching. The universe picks the right ball at the right time to smack out of the park for a home run. Now, important for this metaphor. In life, we're both on the same team. In baseball, the batter and the pitcher are on different teams. Yeah, I know that. So to get started, you're in one of 3 camps. You know what you want to do, okay? The direction you want to go in. Okay, if you're in that camp, go do it. No more waiting. The second of 3 camps, and you're all in one of these 3 camps. You don't know what to do, but at least you have something to do. Keep doing what you're doing, but do it better. Now, that might hurt, that might sting a little bit, but you don't know what to do and you got something. What a gift that is. You shine at what you're doing. The universe lifts you up and gives you a promotion. Shine at what you're doing, even if it's a job you hate, and you will be lifted free from it. Whereas if you just hate it and you resist it, everybody knows that person and nobody wants to go near you with a 10-foot pole. But if you're the person that's making the most of it because you don't know what else to do, life raises you and frees you. Master what's on your plate today is another way that this is shared. Number 3, if you don't know what to do and you have nothing to do, this is where I was 22 years ago. Go do anything really well, anything. And if that means choosing from the least of your sucky paths, as I facetiously share, then choose the least and go. Don't wait for the yellow brick road because it's not coming. It's not coming. It appears beneath your feet, just like the ship of your dreams, but your feet need to be moving. So go do anything to the best of your ability with a smile on your face, gladness in your heart, and boy, are you going to be moving on, moving on, moving on. A lightning bolt for miracles ordained by your wisely defined end results and the passion that brought you there. So you've got the whole thing now, the end results, the passion, and now you're showing up to receive. This is how you do it. I got to share with you my sucky paths back then. And boy, did they suck. 22 years ago, I thought, well, maybe I should go back to being a chartered accountant, a CPA, it's called in the United States. So I circulated my resume. Taking action breeds clarity, a clarity you would not have otherwise had. The clarity I got was nausea. And the clarity I found, to my surprise, that future employers got was also nausea. Nobody wanted me. I'd been out of the workforce for 10 years. We had liquidated a business. I had run it into the ground. I couldn't understand then why nobody would hire me. And so at least I got clarity. Instead of deluding myself, I could always go do this. No, you can't, bucko. You sucked and you're not going back. Okay. The world's not having it. Okay. Can't play that game anymore. Simultaneously, I was doing other things. Don't do one thing at a time. Try out multiple things, given your schedule, given the options, if you have that option, and knock on multiple doors. I started sending out free emails because that's what I wanted to get. 22 years ago, 2001, this was one of them. Picture a little poem with a 3-paragraph essay, blog, if you will, that described the power of the poem. A little easy, and it was free. I was miserable. But at least I was doing something. I was sending out these little emails to people who had visited our t-shirt stores before we closed them, who gave us their email address back in the late 1990s. Most people didn't have one, or if they did, they didn't know it, or they misspelled it. But we had a tiny list, and it was pretty pathetic. But I was doing something. Taking action breeds clarity. That led me to create Touch Adventurers Club, a website for like-minded thinkers who appreciated the metaphysical insights I was sending from the lowest ebb of my life. I had a shop. Nobody bought anything from me. I had an Ask Mike forum. I had to ask Mike the first few questions. I had e-cards. I had to learn affiliate marketing. Absolutely went nowhere. And then a community. I used a dating software template to create. People still used it for dating back at tut.com in the early 2000s. And people started sending me messages they got married because they met at the website. I mean, I'm making no money. It's totally nonprofit, against my wishes. The only person who couldn't get a date at that stupid community was me. And people are getting married. Well, I'm glad somebody's living their dreams. So I thought, Mike, you're like writing about this stuff. The weeklies turned into dailies. Eventually, a year and a half later, turned into notes from the universe. That never would have happened if I didn't just start writing as Mike, which was never very popular, by the way. So I thought, if you're like writing about this stuff, speakers get paid, join Toastmasters and deal with your fear. I was a basket case. I would read my words to the speech with paper trembling in my hand before I graduated off of reading. And then I was a member for years. I hated it, okay? But I had something to say because this was my passion. Speaking to other speakers, I found out about Rotary clubs. You can ask to be a guest speaker. They're a great organization that's changed the world for the better. But those clubs I spoke to were rude. They'd be like, you're out of time, Mike. I'm sorry. Thanks for coming by. All right. But Rotary led to Unity churches. And my first Unity church gig made me lose sleep for 3 nights before I went on stage to 300 people. But they laughed and they get this stuff. And I was filled with hope until I got home and realized for the whole thing, I got $100. How am I going to pay my mortgage? So I got more serious. I went to NSA meetings. I found out what National Speakers Association teaches professional speakers. I was inspired. I then asked for help. That's a baby step everyone can take. The president of the Central Florida chapter said, Mike, I'll help you, but he didn't help me as a speaker. Together, we concocted an audio program, Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams. I gave it the title. He bailed, but because of everything he taught me and my failed e-cards where I learned affiliate marketing, it became a hot seller on the internet. Suddenly, I stumbled in to having the dream business model according to Harvard Business School, a free service on the internet, notes from the universe, and an optional purchase, infinite possibilities for those who want more. It was $130 back in the day. Oops, I did share my screen. Okay. So then I get an email out of the blue. Mike, I love your emails and I have infinite possibilities. What would it take to have you come speak in Holland? Like, I was thinking I'd pay about $5,000 to do that. And they were going to pay me. And I told them and they said, you're hired. And then I freaked out. How am I going to speak in Holland? How long? 6 hours. So I gave my first talk in Orlando where I thought only Mom and Andy would show up, my brother. 35 people showed up. I was a basket case, but I could give a good speech and they were thrilled and it worked. So Orlando worked. I went to Holland. It worked again. And then I came back from Holland and there was another email from London. The same thing, but the guy who sponsored me didn't pay me. I'm 1 week away from flying to London. So I booked a hotel. I called the hotel and I arranged the contract in my name. I pulled it off. It worked. I came home and waited for the next invitation that never came. So I was like, Mike, you didn't even need somebody in London. You don't need anybody anywhere. Invite yourself to wherever you want to go speak and call it a world tour. Well, then I'm touring all over the world saying, hey, if you're going to be in Sydney, come and see me. If you're going to be in Istanbul, come and see me. And somebody said, hey, Mike, we're big fans of yours and we're coming to the US to film a documentary. Can we interview you? And that's how I got in The Secret. Oh my God. And then I was in The Secret. Finally, the audio program for the book, the script for the audio program that nobody would publish, Simon & Schuster wanted it. It debuted, as I shared, on the New York Times, and it made possible the creation of our certification program. And then from there to this day, I have 17 books in 27 languages. I can't even believe myself. Back then, though, when this was all starting to take off and my sucky paths turned into the yellow brick road, I get connected with Louise Hay at Hay House. We did this multi-book deal. They put me in all their Hay House I Can Do It. There's 3,000 people there. And I want to point out, oops. That's not me. That's not me. That's me. There were 3,000 people there. 3,000 people. I had to talk for an hour. It was one of the coolest things I ever did in my life. It's like, oh my gosh. It was just unending. There you go. Like I had to brag, okay? Like Kanye West says, it's hard to be humble when you're stunting on a Jumbotron. It's true. It's really true. I'm sorry about that. All right, to get you started immediately, another worksheet that you have in the downloads. What is your desired transformation? Do a different worksheet for each desired transformation area. And what the heck can you do about it now? These may well be your sucky paths, but it's the dirt road that leads to the diamond mind. And that's what I saw play out in my life. Do something, do anything. You will find that the resources are added. If you just start dancing, even without any music. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can assure you, by the powers vested in me, more than you could even imagine, the music will be added, as will the partners, the giant disco ball, and whatever else you like. But I must warn you, start is not to be confused with start and then stop to see if anything happened. No, that's I'm scared. I'm tired. I'm not sure what I really want. I don't know if it's working. It always works. It never fails. Every day you get closer, every day it gets easier. I mean start as in never stop, never look back, because even if I make a mistake, at least I still get to dance. By the way, you wonder what that music was? Oh, it's the Chipmunks and Beyonce. Oh, yes, the music was added. Now, how to parlay all of this into shining your light so brightly that it brightens the paths of others. A couple things I want to share with you. This is a Chinese proverb. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a month, get married. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. But if you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody else. Chinese proverb. Now, I am not here to preach selflessness. I can remember being raised as I was in Catholicism. We were told to be selfless. And I've always felt and still believe God didn't want to be me so that I could not be me. Don't be you. Go tend to the needs of others. Put their needs before your own. I still don't subscribe to that idea. I think that's contrary to you being you. But what I have found in this upward spiral over 2 decades is, oh my God, there's nothing cooler than planting the seed of hope in somebody else's heart and just watching it blossom. Nothing cooler than planting a tree in a common area. I planted a lot and seeing them tower. Nothing compares to being of service, but yet I've never done it in a selfless way. I've always done it my way, and doing it my way when I'm ready, how and when and for whom I feel called to, nothing could light me up more. And doing it this way, I've covered the other bases. I've put myself in a position of financial wherewithal and connections and friends and laughter, so that this is just like the juiciest of juices, supported by all else I do. I call this selfish service. There could be no cooler. It is the greatest secret. Do it your way, when you want, how you want. And then you're going to find that you can do what you most want to do. And after your dreams start coming true, you will see that they're replaced by actually wanting to do good for others and bring them to where you are. This is the craziest of crazies, yet I've read it. When it comes to 6th dimension, 7th dimension, it's like there's group consciousness after you have totally awakened Christ consciousness within you. And then there's planetary consciousness. And then there's like, I just want to serve. I just want to serve. But you can't start out that way in my experience. You need to tend to business at home. My mother would always say, charity begins at home. You need to serve your happiness. And when you're happy, look out, world, you will automatically help others. It's the easiest thing to do, and you probably already serve in ways that are gratifying. Just don't put yourself out of the picture. You matter. You count. The universe wanted to be you, to experience happiness as you. This is what I found, and this is how I reconcile it. Anybody who's truly selfish, like if I did something and it was at the expense of other people, if my gains were at the expense of other people or the expense of my family or my partner, how happy am I going to be? I would be miserable. I would find out what goes around comes around. That's not selfishness. That's stupidity. Thinking that you can make gains through manifestation at the expense of others, that comes from primitive thinking, that there's only so many coconuts on the island, and if I get one, you have a left. We live in an illusionary world, and the more you thrive, the more others thrive. This is the way it works here. And so you would never approach this as like, my happiness is more important. It's not about comparing or anything like that. It's like you being your best will automatically brighten the paths of others. And you automatically take into account loved ones, family members, community, neighborhood, the world at large. You don't want to go out there and mess it up for anybody. It's too sacred and special, and they're too awesome. Yet, you're taking into account your desires, your preferences, your strengths, your gifts. And if you have to find those first, then find those first. Then you're going to brighten the entire world like the star that you really are. So true selfishness automatically considers everyone. And now you're not on the outside looking in, wishing you had as much fun as you made possible for other people. Okay, you matter. And that's what I wanted to share and convey here. This is from the Note from the Universe birthday wish. Y'all get those, right? If you haven't got yours yet, sit tight. I'm giving away part of my favorite bit of it. A few years back, not so long ago, heaven and earth erupted into a major celebration with news of your impending adventure into this very time and space. You see, someone like you doesn't come along all that often. In fact, there's never been anyone like you, nor is there ever any possibility that another will come again. You are someone whose eyes see what no others will ever see, whose ears hear what no others will ever hear, and whose perspectives and feelings will never be duplicated. Without you, the universe and all that is would be less. I can remember winding down the t-shirt company on my last dollars, used frequent flyer miles to visit some friends in Germany, to attend the Frankfurt Book Fair, to wonder what it would be like if I had books there one day. And I got carried away on their balcony. It was a pivotal turning point in my life. And I got into the nature of reality and the power of our thoughts and that dreams come true and that everything is God. And I got on this rant and they were speechless after about 20 minutes. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do when I figure out what's going on with my life. I had something to say that lights me up. It was for me. I didn't ever think I want to save the world and make it a better place. I wanted to live to the peak of possibilities and joy and abundance and friends and laughter and do it by sharing these insights. And it was months after that where I started sending out the first emails as Mike, circulating my accountant's resume, terrified, willing to settle for less, but the universe was there all along, and the resources and ideas I needed to keep going were added because I stayed in motion. This is what we tell our Infinite Possibilities certified trainers. Again, I've told you this. I have so much fun sharing. I have so much fun teaching like I am with you. Thank you for this opportunity. We teach best what we most need to learn. 25 years ago, I would talk like this about truth. And the number one person who got the most from every single time I opened my mouth was me. And this is you teach best what you most want to learn, what you most need to learn. And so our certified trainers go out there and teach truth because it lights them up and it's what they want to do. So the exercise is simple. Who else besides you will benefit from name 3 dreams, 3 priority areas for transformation? Who else is going to benefit? The list is endless if you truly understand the nature of reality. Everyone alive will benefit from you finding and following your bliss. And if you don't know what it is, start out on a sucky path. If you don't know what your bliss is, start out on a sucky path. Having preferences doesn't mean you're judgmental, whether they're likes or dislikes. Come on, don't give yourself this bad rap because you're judgmental. Oh, I got to love everybody and therefore treat them exactly the same. No, you don't. You owe yourself to have a delineation of what serves you and what doesn't, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. That's a judgment that we all have to rely on, and you can trust yourself. Preferences just ensure that as the winds of divinity are blown through your heart, the melody is unlike any other. So have them big time. And you can have preferences with love. Like, I've gone on 3 blind dates this week, and door number 1 and door number 2, I judge them not to float my boat. I judge that I could be happier if I trust the unknown. Whereas door number 3, I bet they're good in the kitchen. And so you owe that to yourself. Okay, love everyone the same, but that doesn't mean you have to continue dating everybody, nor do you have to pick equally amongst all different careers that don't interest you. You owe it to yourself to honor your preferences. By the way, did you like that note from the universe or did you dislike it? You can choose. It's okay. I know you still love me. Chapter 5, how to install empowering beliefs that will eliminate. This is the coolest thing, because first, I'm often asked, back in the day, well, you keep saying thoughts become things, Mike, and I still do. But what about our beliefs? Aren't they more important than our thoughts? Because if you don't believe it, no matter how much you think about it, it can't happen. This led to some very interesting thoughts that brought clarity. Go within, ask the questions, you'll get the clarity. Our beliefs are almighty. Our beliefs are almighty because thoughts become things, right? Our beliefs allow us, sometimes encourage us, lead us down the path to think these thoughts, and those thoughts become things. Or our beliefs shut us down and they don't allow us the permission to daydream, to fantasize, to wonder, to consider with your imagination. That's why beliefs are powerful, because our thoughts become things and they are the regulators of what we're allowed or not allowed to think. And given the cyclical nature of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, manifestations, thoughts, beliefs, let me give you the pictogram. Ooh, do you see? There's an unending outer circle. Beliefs, thoughts, it doesn't matter where you begin, but this circle takes over. Beliefs, thoughts, life experience. Belief, thoughts, life. You could put emotion and intention. Let's keep it simple. But look at the inner circle. People are dishonest. Well, then you're going to start thinking something bad will happen. And then your house is robbed. See, I told you people were dishonest. Yeah, something else bad will happen. And then your car gets robbed. I told you people were, and we have these vicious circles, and we have circles and patterns in our lives. But we can all do a pattern interrupt anywhere. And here's the second big point in beliefs I wanted to share with you. Too often, in my opinion, it's advocated that we go looking for our invisible limiting beliefs. But if they're invisible, why look? And too often, in my own experience, I'd be like, well, must be that I'm not thinking I'm worthy. I must not believe that I'm deserving. I must believe that money is the root of all evil. I don't have it. I want it. I must be these things. It wasn't any of those things. The big phone call's coming tomorrow. It was just a matter of time. And it's always a matter of time. You want it, don't have it. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. Sometimes it takes years or decades or a lifetime. It doesn't mean that there was a single invisible limiting belief. Maybe you had other dreams that had a higher priority. Maybe it was love. Maybe it was something else. And as soon as you start drawing conclusions like, I must believe I'm not worthy, now you have that to contend with. So instead of going down that path at all, which may work well for some folks, instead of going down that path, I've got something else for you. It's a pattern interrupt. You can break the pattern anywhere, okay? Break it with new thoughts, which will lead to new life, which will lead to new life experiences. That's what thoughts points to, which will take you to a new orbit, to more new thoughts, more new life experiences. Now you've got new beliefs because your evidence is all around you through new manifestations. Now you have new thoughts, new life experience, new beliefs. It's all being reinforced, and the pattern interrupt came with thoughts. Now, you might say, based on what I just shared, if I think new thoughts, but I don't believe it, your thoughts are what dictate how the elements will behave. And if you go through a creative visualization session every day and you believe you're worthy, even if you really did have a I'm not worthy belief, those thoughts with intensity and visualization and all the juicy details that might come to pass will bring a shift in your experiences that will erode that invisible limiting belief. And you never had to name nor even be aware of what your invisible limiting belief was, because now evidence to the contrary is everywhere. Obviously, you do believe you're worthy, and now you're on a new orbit. So easy. 3 steps for installing empowering beliefs. Choose beliefs that would powerfully serve you. Are they yours? You don't have to say there, I believe that money is easy to get. That would be a great belief. I believe it grows on trees. I believe God wants me to be rich. I believe everything I touch turns. These are awesome beliefs, okay? They're awesome. What would be the beliefs if it was financial priorities, financial transformation you wanted that would serve you? Number two, claim these beliefs through thoughts and words. Study the list of empowering beliefs that you're going to create. See the validity. My thoughts become things. Everything in the material world is a reflection of the interior world. I can change the interior world by changing my thoughts. Everything is just spirit. Matter, more so, because I thought about it so much, it showed up in my life. There's only spirit. There's only God. Money is God. That'd be a cool belief. And then number three, the final step, start predicating your behavior a little bit as if those were your dreams. Splurge here or there. With money you have, don't spend that which you don't. Or act as if you're worthy of love. Smile to a stranger. Go buy a perfume for the person you wish was in your life. When I spoke in Brisbane on my first world tour, a lady sat at my table and she said, I was lonely forever, but this manifesting stuff works. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why we're here today. And she said, no, I was alone. And so I started pretending and acting as if I believed I was lovable. I believed I was worthy. And I made space in my house for this guy. I started sleeping on my side of the king side bed. I cleaned out one of the master bedroom closets for his stuff. There was no guy in her life. Nobody on the radar. I stopped parking in the middle of the 2-car garage that I own, and I started parking on my side, leaving room for him and his car. There was no him. And then she turned to the guy next to her and she said, see, here's the proof, it worked, which I thought was a joke. But she had invited him, paid for him to be at my event. They had been dating and were now living together. She pretended. She did step 3. She acted as if that she believed it, that she was worthy, and that he was coming. It's so easy, my friends. Here's the worksheet. What area of your life do you want transformed? And what beliefs would be really cool and juicy would you love to say are your own? They don't even have to be your own yet. You don't even have to know if you believe in them or not, but see their validity, study them, make affirmations out of them. And then, of course, follow through. Don't just make that list. Follow through. Claim them, study them, and number 3, act as if they're yours. Grasshopper, you may not always know what your invisible limiting beliefs are, but you will always know the kinds of empowering beliefs you'd like to possess. And so, one decision at a time, one day at a time, you can choose to behave accordingly, as if they were your beliefs. And verily, worlds will be born, you shall be transformed, and the cows will finally come home. Fellow adventurers, I'm about out. Oh, I'm 2 minutes over, but this is like a 3-slide roundup. I want you to know the truth about your unimaginable power. And I want you to know that these wonky times we're in are when manifestations will happen even faster. It doesn't look like that, so maybe you put your life on hold. It doesn't look like that, so maybe you're on pause. I want you to unclog those wheels. I want you to dream again. I want you to think of love and passion and health and prosperity, service. If it floats your boat, one day it will. Service on your time, on your terms, and know this, that in this world, given your divine heritage, you're of God, by God, pure God. Given your divine heritage, it's as if your positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than your negative thoughts. It's like you're being pushed on to greatness every single day. This is the current that brought you here. This intergalactic tidal wave of love and joy chose time and space at this exciting crossroads to thrive and to be the light. And with you, this current of magnificence and prosperity and infinite possibilities. When you think thoughts in alignment with the current that brought you here, pop, 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 they become the things and events of your life. When you think, oh, mom, this stuff sucks. Oh, mom, can I have another cigarette? Those thoughts are really hard to manifest. You can think both. As long as you're thinking both, the positive ones will destroy the invisible limiting ones. I don't encourage you to be negative or fearful, but don't be afraid that you're afraid, okay? Don't worry that you worry. you will find more than you ever expected. You notice in my Happy Spiritual International Millionaire and in my subsequent High Priorities, Wealth and Abundance, Creative Fulfilling Work, Friends and Laughter International, I never put down romance. Oops, that means I can't have it. No, the universe knows you. It knows what else would complete your life even more. It knows you want happiness at the highest level. And for you, that will likely mean at some point in your life, a partner to share it with. In 2008, Puerto Vallarta, I'm speaking with Don Miguel Ruiz. Spent a whole lifetime, most of my first 45 years, desperate and dateless. It was always something I knew I wanted. And I did some visualizations that way, but it was never my highest priority. And boom, I meet a senorita. That was the day we met, when I least expected it, when she didn't speak a word of English or me a word of Spanish. Turns out not speaking the other's language is solid gold in a relationship. Within a couple of years, we got married. And then when I thought my life couldn't get any better, when I thought that boat had sailed, Rebecca Solosito showed up. And it's like my life is a fairy tale. Your life is one too. You might be at a different spot in the flow of things. This stuff didn't take my entire life to get to where I am today. Within a year and a half, I was on World Tour 1. Within a couple of years of that, I was invited to be in The Secret. Within a couple of years from that, I had a New York Times bestseller, during which I was constantly traveling. That worked out pretty well. Travel internationally. Who travels more than an international speaker? All expenses paid. What I wanted has been so far exceeded. I could never have believed it if I had seen a glimpse at where I was going. Fellow adventurers, I'm about to answer your questions. I will stay until the top of the hour. If you got to go, you got to go. I totally respect that. Come back and watch the recording. This whole thing will be available to you tomorrow. You're going to get an email. You can share it with other folks. Just share the link with them. Don't tell them I said that, okay? But it's okay with me. I want to tell you a little bit about this Infinite Possibilities certification, which is the backbone of all that we do right now. It has given so many people of the 2,500 avenues and exciting pathways to explore their power while teaching what they most need to learn. We've got a lady named Kim. She started a business hosting IP workshops. My material, royalty-free for life. All she did was attend a 4-day workshop. And she turns these IP workshops into 9-month coaching groups and women's retreats. Jim and Christiana, dear friends, have used the power of IP to change their lives, leave full-time jobs, took a group to Ireland while teaching IP, and are now doing what they love. Brenda and Sandy have trained hundreds of inmates at Rhode Island Penitentiary. They're committed to reducing recidivism. Jenny and Calvin used IP to transform their own relationship, and now they go on the road and teach other people how to use metaphysical principles, mine and others. I've shared the stage with countless members. It's like my inner circle, these Infinite Possibilities peeps. We call them IPPIs. IP, IP. They're not hippies, they're IPPIs. We call them IPPIs. This is my inner circle. I've written a book with one of them, Tracy Farquhar. I've shared the stage. Many of them have taken this material and combined it with their own areas of passion. Rebecca has created a children's program using the Infinite Possibilities curriculum. You can Google her, I Believe in Me. Raquel went on to record a singing album as an IPPI, and she's featured as a soloist in an HBO show. She's also a thriving life coach. Countless other trainers. I'm going to tell you how you can get in if you're interested. We've got people doing international speaking, people addressing niches like the sick, the elderly, the mentally challenged. We have more people in prisons, teaching family and friends, addressing audiences made up of teen moms, kids with autism, middle school, colleges, other at-risk communities. It's the coolest thing that we have ever done. People do it for free. People do it for a fee. You can write your own ticket. There's niche groups. As I said, the exciting news is that we only do a certification conference once or twice a year. There's one coming up September. It's normally only $9.95. Okay, these by peers are $2,000, $5,000, $7,000. $9.95. There's a payment plan available, but if you choose to pay upfront full price right now by August 31, $100 off for those who have watched this film. Notes from the Universe subscribers. Use the coupon code Trainer100. The link is beneath the video you're watching right now. Trainer100 is the coupon code for $100 off. So it's $8.95 if you pay the full payment right now. You'll find your family. We truly are family. Royalty-free, lifetime license to share anything you saw in this program. You could use my PowerPoints. We've got people using my PowerPoints. They make their own PowerPoints. A lot of what we do is open source. The coolest thing on the internet since the internet, where those IPPs who want share training materials, lessons, their own PowerPoints. They use mine. It's mix and match. It's a big love fest. Fellow adventurers, whatever you do, I'm honored that you are here. I wish you happy beginnings at this most exciting time in these hallowed jungles of time and space. Thoughts become things, and you are adored. Woo! Okay. Hallelujah. Let's see. Let me stop sharing my screen. Let me check out, 1,400 people watching live out of the almost 20,000, most of whom watch the recording. And that many comments. Do we have some questions? Team in the back. Did any questions come in? How does the universe respond to manifestations from people such as Voldemort, the evil villain in the Harry Potter series, who want world domination? Does the universe filter out those requests? Cool question. The answer will make sense in time, but the universe doesn't decide. It's you and me who decides. And if I choose to focus on love, peace, and joy, Voldemort cannot come into my life. And when the world finally starts focusing on love, peace, and joy, Voldemort will have no place here. He'll have no choice but to be peaceful. And when he tries to recruit dastardly villains or incite black magic, it won't work. It won't work. He won't believe it. He will even transform himself or be forced to go to another incarnation in another world where people do want to play victim and play powerless and play those things. Now, I know that this defies what our physical senses see, and the war and many wars and a lot of hideous, ugly things happen in time and space. But when you get far enough back from the equation and stop dissecting it with a microscope, just like cancer, instead of seeing the cells that are destroying other cells and that are eating a body alive, you stand back and you see the experience. And you see that the cancer or the ailment or the friction in a relationship, you see it's a wake-up call and a red flag and an invitation to re-examine what's going on, to re-examine priorities. COVID was our big invitation to reconsider our priorities. And many of us have done that. More family time, less chasing the almighty dollar, all those kind of things, putting things in the right order. And then this is why many cancer patients have told me it was one of the greatest gifts of their life. It changed their life for the better. Not the hideous cells that were destroying them, but the experience. And beneath every experience, there is love, there is order, there is harmony, there is perfection. Excuse me. And I know that might hurt, and I know that doesn't put a smiley face on the truly hideous and disgusting things that are happening. But when you stand far enough back, or when we transfer over and we're on the other side of the veil and we see that there's just love and beauty everywhere, things will make sense in a different way than they can here. And that love and beauty that we see on the other side can be seen here and now. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. But just know at the deepest sense that there's order and that there's perfection and that there's healing taking place, no matter what the physical senses who don't see the miracles want to tell you. Okay. Next great question. I have fear from past traumas. How do I release it? I would bless it. I would experience it. I would let it all come out. I would simultaneously understand. And this is something that came to me in a meditation today. For me, you are more than any moment. You are more than any past experience. You are more than the circumstances that now surround you. You are more than that which scares you. I get intimidated. I get scared. I got to talk to 20,000 people today for 90 minutes. I got to finish building that PowerPoint presentation. What if I don't do it right? What if I don't go here? Then I get into a tizzy. And so it's like, Mike, you've done this your whole life. You've worked yourself into a tizzy your whole life. And the thing that powerfully hit me, which will powerfully hit you in its own words, in its own way, addressed to your own situation, when you reflect and you feel it, don't suppress it. When you feel it, in privacy, in a dedicated session, when you're hashing it out, you will see it in a totally different light and you will be free from it. So feel it, invite it in, ask what you have to learn, while simultaneously be building your life on other fronts. You don't put your life on hold because of that. I was terrified of flying for a long time while I continued to fly on airplanes. I've had my fears and my phobias and my irrationality, but I continue to live to the best of my ability, no matter how much it scared me. Fear usually means you're on the right path. And as I continue to go within and still search for whatever might be holding me back in one area or another, I create space for liberation. That's what I would suggest for you. I like to say this too. Whether it's fears or challenges or problems or dreams, that you're experiencing them, you are their creator. You are their creator. No matter what somebody did, you are still the creator of what taunts you to this day. I'm not taking responsibility away from people who have violated you. Press charges, okay? That should be done. But what you're feeling today in terms of challenges, problems, and fears, or your dreams, as lofty as they may be, you are their creator. And therefore, you are their greater. You are greater than whatever you might be afraid of, whatever you're dealing with. Have passion, patience, and compassion for yourself, and this will pass. And you will look back with gratitude. I promise you. Is the certification automatic, or is there a test? Oh, yes, there's a test. The certification is automatic. It's automatic. You have to sign that you understand the program. There's a release, okay? Like there'd be a release for using any intellectual property, but the release states that it's royalty-free, license-free for life. But we do have designations that are an awful lot of fun to work towards. We have trailblazers. Anybody who takes this material using my PowerPoint or however on a stage or in their own living room and teaches at least 6 people for 6 hours on one day or over wine and cheese every Tuesday night, they become trailblazers. And trailblazers have this certain seniority and respect by all of the IPPEs for having gone out there and done it. We also have another designation called Certified Playing the Matrix Trainers. Again, it's something people want to use to augment a coaching program or augment their own credentials. But from the end of the conference, assuming you participated, and there's ways we have to make sure that you were there, a child of 5 years old could do it, but you're not going to get around it unless you experience the entire workshop. You sign the release and you're an IPPE. Welcome to the family in advance. Excusez-moi. What if you can't attend the entire certification sessions? Can you play back any material? Yes. When you do the certification program, you get that on your TUT dashboard, tut.com dashboard for life. So until you watch it all and sign off and pass. There is a test. Like I drop in code words during the 4 days. So you have to come back with what those code words are, which you're not going to know unless you don't have to say which is more powerful, a belief or a thought or intention or emotion. The test is a no-brainer, but it can only be passed if you experience the entire workshop. So if it takes you a week or a month, that's fine. At that point, you're certified. Once you prove you've experienced it all and you sign the release. How can I stay positive when surrounded by a mass population of negativity? Me too. The whole freaking world has gone crazy, right? You have that strength. We both do. We all do, or we would not have chosen to come and play at this precarious time in the evolution of consciousness. How do you do it? You celebrate what's good. You celebrate what's right. Go join our Facebook page. It's totally free, called Raise the Vibe. And you're going to get flooded with the best of the best social media, non-political posts you have ever seen in your life. Hang out with your positive and happy friends. Do time in the garden or with your fur babies, or take a trip, be with loved ones. I'm sure your life, like my life, is filled with gifts and opportunities. So I want you to focus on that and not the news, because the news sensationalize it. No matter what channel you watch, they blow it up, everything out of proportion, and they focus on the ugly and the painful. That's how they get revenue. People watch the ugly and the painful. So you can watch the news if you want. I do usually, but don't let it sweep you off your feet. Okay, you wouldn't have come here. This is not any old time to be alive. You are one of the thoroughbred spirits that chose these exciting jungles of time and space on planet Earth during a transformation. Be strong. It's going to be okay. It's going to be something we all laugh at. And life in the next 5, 10, 20 years will be unrecognizable to what we see today. Okay. How do you transform an old belief that doesn't serve you anymore? Are you sure you have that old belief? Okay. This is what I was saying. You don't even have to know what your old failed limiting beliefs are to begin installing new ones. Know what you want to believe, see the validity of every item on that list, create affirmations for that you repeat to yourself all the time, and start acting like those are your beliefs. And the invisible limiting beliefs, or the known beliefs that you've labeled, which is a slippery slope because maybe that wasn't your belief, but now you got to contend with it, will erode to the point that they're gone. So that's how I would dismantle. When I was afraid of flying, I kept flying anyway. When I was afraid of flying, I denied myself the opportunity to talk to everybody about, are you afraid of dying? Do you think we're going to die? We just hit some turbulence. I refrained from holding strangers' hands. Instead, I acted as if I wasn't afraid. Instead, I made lists of what a person not afraid believes, that statistically, chances of you dying in an airplane are zero. Okay, zero. They rarely crash, and when they do, not everybody always dies, not always. I would write that on my list. I would also write down, look, when one door closes, another one opens. Another one, a belief I wanted to install, which I knew was true, is that no one dies before their time. And I would study this. I would look at the statistics. I would use logic. I would use intuition. I would use my spiritual grit and say, this is silly to be afraid. It's irrational, Mike. And then acting as if I continued to fly. And so if you've identified it, that's how I would deal with it. What's the opposite of that belief? Do you see the validity of the opposite of that belief? Can you start acting in little token ways, little playful demonstrations, as if you now believe the opposite? Soon the evidence will pile up that the old belief does not stand up to the light of day, and the new belief makes a lot more sense and is in alignment with your divine magnificence. That's what I would say. Next. Is it true that within the next 14 years, more destruction is on the way, and this current world cycle is turning into a new world cycle, and we all are entering into a new era golden diamond type. My sense, I mean, I'm not a fortune teller, and that's a terrible business to be in because things can change on a dime. Remember in the 80s and the 90s, Ramtha and a bunch of channels were predicting famine and drought and misery and war and bloodshed pouring in the streets. And then in the early 2000s, some of the same channels and new ones came on the scene and they all said, hey, you dodged that bullet. Nice job. Light, the world started letting in more light. You avoided all of that prophesized calamity. And back then people were saying, oh, this is Book of Revelations and Nostradamus. We are going through a transition. There is resistance. The resistance is futile because this movement into the light is unstoppable. The world is going, the dimensions and energies and vibrations are rising. So those who can't handle it and resist, they're going to create tension that we're only susceptible if we play into it. And they're going to create such a juxtaposition that they won't fit with the dimension anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I could imagine that there'll be a few other things like COVID or a war, but it's certainly not guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is this new era golden diamond type that we're moving into. And what is guaranteed is your salvation and your joy and your happiness when these become the thoughts and the words and the behaviors of your life. Nothing to be afraid of. Maybe fasten your seatbelt. Hey, that doesn't mean the car's going to crash. Is visualizing about winning the lottery a form of micromanagement? No. Great question. Thinking that your abundance will come from winning the lottery is messing with accursed how. You want wealth and abundance, right? You used to say, I want to win the lottery. Hey, the lottery's great. You might win the lottery. You might not win the lottery. So insist on nothing less than wealth and abundance, and then show up down various paths. Remember I said, don't do one thing. Don't just buy lottery tickets, but do buy one, maybe one per whatever you can afford only. Buy one a week, one a month, whatever. And work on that book, ask for a raise, get a new job, start that business, knock on all those other doors and continue to buy lottery tickets. If all you did was buy lottery tickets, that would be micromanaging. But when you realize what you really want, here's what you really want: wealth and abundance. And you know why you want that? You want happiness, freedom, unlimited opportunities on a financial sense. You really want happiness. You can bring it down to wealth and abundance. There's enough for everyone. But everything else are possible ways. Stoke the flames, take paths, buy the tickets, polish up the resume, start the business, write the book, do all the things that resonate with you, and buy lottery tickets, but do not insist or attach to this path or this path. The universe knows more paths. There's more doors to knock on than you're even aware of. And there's better than just wealth and abundance. It's happiness, and it's relationships, and it's health, and it's vitality. So I hope that put it into context. Great question. So what if you are constantly in a hospital getting treatment and chemo and can't go out and do something? It's pretty difficult to stay positive. I can't even imagine. And you were right. It would be very difficult. But fortunately, at this time, not that this makes it super easy, at this time, there is the internet. And here we are. I'm in your living room, right? Or wherever you are right now. There are groups online. There are organizations. There is employment opportunity. There are ways to be of service. There is a place to cooperate with others. I would be on the internet. Look, when COVID came, I stopped traveling every 2 weeks all over the world. I didn't know how I would manage. And it's all online now. I've been on a plane for 2 trips in 3 years compared to a lot more. And so I sympathize. I send you love. I see you in gold light. I see you healing and smiling and helping other people, asking the question that you asked me, but you're answering it for them. You're whole, you're complete, you're healthy and wealthy. This remains. If it was your time to go, you'd be gone. It is not your time to go. You've chosen this experience for for the awakening that it's making possible. And while other things have become more difficult, it's temporary. So do what you can with what you got from where you are. Have people over and come see you. Become a life coach. There's endless possibilities of what you could be doing in these difficult situations. In fact, I bet you met some other cancer patients or other patients who are really struggling right now with hope. And you are opening your heart and mind. You've attended this program. Hope is something that you now have to dispense and to share as a beginning. Maybe in the beginning, just have free get-togethers for those who are mobile in your circle of friends, family, and you get together, even if it's around your bedside, and you talk about possibilities. It's a start. I did stuff for free, like the emails and the dating website and the Ask Mike forum. I still do. Most of my stuff is free. But then you have ideas and clarity because you took action, and more things you can do as you're getting better. And doing all that stuff is going to help you get better too. I think we're at 2 hours right now. So fellow adventurers, with all the love I have in my heart, I share it with you. I send you well wishes. I congratulate you on sticking it out and watching this whole thing. The replay is available to you through the link we'll send you tomorrow. Share it with friends by all means. Happy new beginnings, because now that we're waking up, the best is yet to come for every single one who's watching this right now, and for everyone else too. They just don't know it yet. It's more fun when you know it's going to get better and better and better. Thoughts become things, and you are adored.